Karl Konrad and welcome to this week's edition of Australian Immigration News. This channel is proudly brought to you by Australian Immigration Law Services, the company I founded in Sydney now more than 25 years ago. Tonight we have a new visa announced this week. Engineers are again in short supply. Engineering graduate visa applicants vent their anger, and yet another example how the Immigration Department mistreats Australian citizen children. But before we get into these stories, I want to talk about a new video format in our news program where we want viewers to make short video clips about the issues they are facing within our visa system. Now we're doing this because your voice matters. Send in your less than 60-second videos by emailing them to our office. And we're developing this important platform so you can express your experience with the Australian visa system, both the good and the bad. A new visa subclass was announced with such a whisper that not many migration professionals caught on that it actually happened. The new 192 visa was announced to create an avenue for the 3,000 lucky Pacific Island nationals to gain their permanent residency. It is called the PEV, not to be confused with those other PEVs out there. Now this is a ballot type of visa and the conditions to have a chance is pretty straightforward. Be aged between 18 to 45, be of a certain nationality and fill out the form and pay the fee. The full list of nationalities is yet to be released, but according to the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, they could be the following here shown on the screen. Now, being lucky enough to have your name pulled from the hat is just the first stage. There won't be 3,000 names, however, because this is a total figure of visa grants, including family members as well, spouses and dependent children only. Once your name is called, the next part is being able to make yourself meet these other visa requirements. Secure a full-time job offer from Australia. Hold a valid passport of one of those chosen countries. Be born from one of those countries or have at least one parent who was born in one of those countries. Meet basic English requirements, but we don't know what this level is yet, and pass the mandatory police and medical checks. Now this is probably the Labor government's very first visa subclass. Remember, this is the same government who has been complaining, oh, the Liberals left such a mess and it's all too complicated. So speaking of complications, why on earth do these applicants require a full-time job offer? And how exactly are they meant to secure this sitting on an island in the middle of the Pacific? Everyone knows it's hard to obtain genuine job offers in Australia unless you're here and you have the appropriate work visa. I can just imagine the complications of the department having to check these new job offer letters that they are actually genuine. And we all know there are plenty of dodgy employers out there asking money to provide such job offers. Sadly, this new Labor government visa subclass does not give me confidence of a new simplified visa system within the migration strategy. An article in the Australian newspaper reports that we'll need an extra 200,000 engineers by the year 2040. Previously, Engineers Australia has warned we need 50 to 100,000 in the next decade. This dramatic figure is based upon the nation's current and future infrastructure projects, and in particular, renewable energy. However, it seems the current government is not really taking this challenge seriously, as there are so many engineers on temporary visas who have excellent professional jobs right here in Australia, and most are not being offered invitations to apply for permanent residency. Is the Labor Party so scared of upsetting the general public by talking about migration matters they are incapacitated to do what is necessary to keep our basic infrastructure projects on the boil? And speaking of this need for engineers, the Immigration Department's recent capping and ceasing of the 476 engineering graduate visa seems more than a little absurd given this context. Many of these young engineers had been waiting considerable periods and complied with the department's requests for medical and police checks. Tonight we have a video sent in by Sania Yasmeen, one of these 476 visa applicants who unjustly had their visa applications ceased by the Immigration Department. Understandably, she has the right to be upset about how this has all panned out.
Hi, I'm Sania Yasmin, a biomedical engineer from Pakistan. I've applied for 476 visa in August 2022 and received an S56 request in September 2023. On 22nd December, when I opened my IMI account, I was just shocked to see that the 476 visa has been capped and seized. These 1.5 years of waiting have not only been a loss of time, but have also capped my dreams and aspirations associated with this visa, hindering the pursuit of my career goals. I've wasted these 1.5 years in waiting and hoping for Subclass 476 visa. I've also missed out many opportunities just in the hope of this visa. I spent money on IELTS, medical, and other documentation. Wastage of money is not a big issue. The main issue is wastage of time, wastage of a young engineer time, which is very important, in which he or she has to build her own career. Some applicants who have applied in 2023 have received their grants, while I'm still waiting. This is so unjust. I'm very upset because of this unfair decision of Australian immigration. I request the Australian Home Affairs Immigration to revert this decision and kindly consider the applications submitted before the visa capped date. Thank you.
Previously, many fresh engineering graduates who came to Australia on their granted 476 visa had been able to secure good jobs in Australia using their engineering skills. Would it really have made such a difference to the temporary visa migration intake to do the right thing and finish processing all of these 476 applications? Their relatively small numbers would have made little impact. However, what is having a greater impact is the damage to Australia's reputation as a reliable place to migrate to. These cap and cease laws were originally designed for extreme circumstances and have only been used once before. They should not be used to make up for poor management of the migration program or just to make slight adjustments of our migration intake. The Immigration Department should do the right thing here and reverse their decision and allow the processing of all old 476 visa applicants. Now we have quite a number of these video comments from other 476 applicants, which we will play in our new format called 60 Seconds, Your Voice Matters. So stay tuned for that. This week, Sky News ran a story of the mother of an Australian citizen child forced onto the parent visa program and told she may need to wait 29 years for visa processing. Fortunately, the Immigration Minister Andrew Giles has thrown her a lifeline.
Christy Chilcott simply wanted to raise her Australian son Jack in Perth, the place she and her late husband Drew had planned to bring him up before the 20-year Special Forces veteran died in a tragic accident.
It's my last chance to carry on any sort of parenting that I hope to do with Drew.
Instead, Mrs. Chilcott was told she'd have to leave the country by July 1, and a parent visa would take up to 3 decades to process. It was an unbearable amount of stress for a young family already dealing with crushing grief.
Understandably, Christy is appreciative of the minister stepping in to save the day, but it is simply amazing that this poor widow was forced onto the parent visa program in the first place. The government is refusing to acknowledge the rights of Australian children to keep their families in Australia with them. If the minister is capable of making a new visa for 3,000 PR lottery winners, surely he can make a new visa to look after the needs of our Australian children. And now it's time for one of our readers' comments. This one comes from Minodu, who lives in Germany, responding to our video about the dark side of student visas. It raises the important issue that the integrity of the migration system is being eroded by this government. We have the 476 visa applicants waiting a long time for processing, and then the government just cancels thousands of their applications to cover their own mismanagement. The government also announcing it will introduce a new 35 years of age limit on the 485 visa, but gives no confirmation that current students will not be affected by such a radical change. This is causing severe stress to thousands of international students studying now in Australia. Also, the government proposes to shorten the length of graduate visas, only months after giving generous extension programs. All of this behaviour has consequences for prospective overseas students who once saw Australia as a reliable, stable country to come and study in. And Minho Du's comment of the erosion of that trust in our system is a perfect example. He writes in and says, "Thank you for the honesty in this whole issue. A future primary teacher speaking here. Now I will reconsider my intentions of doing my master's degree in primary teaching in Australia. I feel like the government did a good job on glooming prospects for educated migrants who were willing to make the effort for Australia's prosperity. During my working holiday period in Australia, I had such an amazing and unforgettable time that I considered paying humongous study fees for a teaching degree and plan to become a teacher in Australia, even though I will have the best job opportunities after graduation in Germany. But looking at the current shift in migration politics, I'm going to try it as an offshore applicant since the allocations for the 190 are declining and tertiary education is free in Germany. It is a good reminder that many international students who come here have many other good options. This government has the arrogance of thinking they can act unjustly and unfairly as they want, but the students will keep coming anyway. It's simply not the way to treat the guests of this country. Stay tuned and don't miss an episode by making sure you have subscribed and turning on that notification bell. Support our channel by giving us a like, and even better, if you can share our program to your friends. And remember, if you need help, we are always here. You can go to our website and book a consultation online, or if it's urgent, call our two lovely receptionists, Pat and Hay, and they will see if they can squeeze you in earlier. As always, take care out there, and I'll see you next time. So bye for now.